All right. Hopefully we are live, everybody. Let's see who we got checking in. Bryson's check in. I love this. Check, check. Czechoslovak chat check. I love that. Guy checked in from Germany. Uh, John has a question we'll talk about in a minute. Narcotic Castro Productions checking in from Orlando. Daniel, how you doing? Okay, so if you follow me on Twitter or on the community. How you doing, Scott? Um, if you follow me on Twitter or on the community page on YouTube, um, I I've had a rough last week anyway. I've had a rough week. And if you look at the thumbnail of this video, you could probably tell that I've had a rough week. I'm not sure how much I'm going to talk about. Smirking Guns has joined us. How you doing? Um, I'm not sure how much in detail I'm going to talk about, but I will talk about my week. What should have been a nice, somewhat easy week because there was vacation involved. Well, yeah, it got a little rough. First of all, with the channel, you guys have probably noticed not a lot has popped up in the last week or so, and again, it pertains to just last week being insane. There's just so many things going on. Um, so I'm getting caught up on a few things. Thankfully, I saw Captain Marvel early and was still able to fulfill my obligations for the company who got me the early screening. And I could do my radio spot here from home. I figured out a way I could do it at home. So, um, and I could fulfill that. So I haven't missed out on anything professionally, thankfully. But so okay, last week, it Winta says, "Daddy." I didn't know I was your dad. Before we begin, I got a message from Desiree. Many of you know her from many of these live streams. She says, "Won't be able to watch live stream tonight because covering someone's shift today. I send thoughts and hugs and happy thoughts to everybody." So it's too bad she can't make it, but I'm sure she'll catch it on the back end and she'll join us next time. And thank you guys for joining me on this Tuesday. I know normally it's Wednesday, and it planned on being on Wednesday, but I'm going to the AMC's having like an early screening of 5 Feet Apart. And since there's like 4 movies coming out this weekend, and I have to work Saturday, I had to do everything I could to spread out the movies because Captive State comes out. That new kids movie about the theme park comes out. And then apparently there's a Nancy Drew movie that has the girl from It in it. I didn't even know until this week. And we're getting them all here. So I'll be seeing everything so I can avoid having to see it on Sunday and only having to see one on Friday. So yeah, I'm a little behind on everything, but again, thankfully, Captain Marvel, I got that done, and then I wanted to start Gino's Bad at Games again. I'm probably going to play a few solo games on that before I start another long game. So we'll get to that. Uh, I know I'm going to do a few shorter ones, I think, just to kind of get back in the groove of things. Because when I start a long game, it takes me getting back into it. I'm just not the avid gamer I used to be. So yeah, this week or last week, I had vacation days on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and um, that was to go see Captain Marvel early. Um, I always take vacation and hope that there will be a screening that I can go to, and there was on Monday, so I got to see that on Monday. And things were going fine. Last Sunday, not a few days ago, but I'm talking last week here, was my son's birthday. Um, he just turned 11, so we did, stuff that day on Sunday, and then Monday I went to St. Louis, and things. I had a feeling things weren't going to go so good because I got my kids off to school, and about an hour or so before I was going to leave, I started downloading some podcasts to listen to on the way, some Free Beer and Hot Wings show clips and some Joe Rogan stuff. Um, and it only downloaded halfway and it stopped because I have it only set up. Um, I only had it set up to go over Wi-Fi because I don't want to waste my data um, and downloading a bunch of stuff at home. And only download half. I'm like, what's going on? My phone all of a sudden shows that I don't have Wi-Fi, and I'm like, okay, that's weird. Because it's like I was just on my computer and I had Wi-Fi, so it's like that's weird. So I go down, I check my computer. My computer has Wi-Fi. I check my Xbox; it has Wi-Fi, and it's picking it up. My son's tablets aren't though, so it was very strange that my phone and tablets weren't picking up the Wi-Fi, and I thought, well, maybe I just need to reboot them or something. I mean, who knows? So and it's like I don't have time to mess with it. Hopefully, maybe AT&T is doing something, and it'll be fine when I get back because I was going to be back about 7 p.m. And I get back, and nope, things are not good. Well, my sons look forward to their iPad time when they come to me for the week on week off thing, so they weren't real thrilled. And it's like, well, I checked the computer and it's weird, the computer still has Wi-Fi. I mean, granted, it's like right there behind me, but I thought, okay, if that's the case, then maybe if I bring my phone downstairs, it'll catch on too. No, my phone still kept saying Wi-Fi and had an exclamation point there, saying it wasn't getting it. And so I finally, I got that night, I contacted AT&T over chat and I said, I need this fixed. Well, we'll send you a new thing. They checked it and they said, yeah, there's something wrong, which explains a lot. I'm wondering how long I've been having issues considering of all the issues we've had doing this live stream, having the Wi-Fi go out and stuff. And so they said, we'll send you a new one tomorrow. They didn't send one tomorrow. So Tuesday rolls around, and this is where I'm going to kind of get vague because I'll talk about my family on this channel, but there's just some details I don't want to put out there. I mean, as much as I appreciate everyone being here, there's just some things that I like to keep personal, especially when it involves my kids. But many of you know I have a special needs son, and there are times where his behavior gets a little rough. So it gets a little hard to handle. Well, Tuesday morning was one of those mornings. I mean, part of it, we don't know if part of it has to do with what his affliction is, or part of it could just be because he's definitely a creature of routine. When routines are good, he's usually doing good, but when his routine gets thrown off, it can throw him off. So that morning, getting him around for school was a little rough. He finally straightened up and everything was fine. I did end up, instead of him going to daycare that day, I went and picked him up after school, brought him home, let him rest, and he was fine. So then, but he was upset that he couldn't use it. I mean, I give them a little bit of tablet time at night. They have from 7 to 8's their tablet time, and they can do whatever they want on it. They can watch, Netflix or PBS Kids or whatever. And he couldn't do this stuff. Granted, the computer was still getting Wi-Fi, so it's like, well, I'll bring him downstairs. I've got a big TV connected to the computer, just right over there, and I could bring that stuff up on the computer. So I had that handled, and he was fine with it. And so we got through Tuesday. Granted, it was still a vacation day, but I spent part of the day. I was able to, thankfully, having Wi-Fi on the computer, I could do my review for Captain Marvel that day and upload it and everything, which is still weird. My phone wasn't getting anything. Tablet's not getting anything. Computer and Xbox, fine. It was just strange. And so Wednesday rolls around, morning's good. I contact AT&T again, and they're saying, we'll get it to you. And they did finally. They finally got me my new thing, and I got it hooked up, and I thought everything was going to be good. and Wednesday was okay. Thursday um, was when things got really rough. Uh, I'm just gonna say this: I had to go get my son at school. Things just went bad, and it was. I go to get him, and normally I can talk him down and at least get him out of there and get him home if something's wrong. And I couldn't do it this time. He just wouldn't stop. He wouldn't calm down. Um, so I called in. I called my mom. She showed up, and let's just say it was hard to get him out of the school. And we finally, though, got him into my mom's van, got him back to my house. I got him in the house, but trying to get him into the house, uh, my mom slipped and hurt her knee. And then one thing I need to mention about Tuesday and Wednesday, my parents had to go out of town for a funeral, and my son is used to seeing his Nana every morning. Even if I'm on vacation, she comes over at like 7, helps him get off to school, and he likes that, getting to see his Nana in the morning. So I forgot to mention that, and I think that threw him off too. But she hurt her knee slipping in the snow because we're trying to get him into the house, and snow is just piling down because I got called off of work Thursday. I had to leave my job to go get him. Um, and then I ended up we finally got him in, got him laid down. After that, he was fine. But I had to punish him. I had to take away, and I hate doing it because I know he loves it, but I had to take away the thing he loves. I had to take away his iPad or tablet, whatever you want to call it. It's not an iPad. It's a Samsung something or other. But I had to take it away from him for Thursday night, Friday, and Saturday. And I hated doing it, but because he loves it. But hey, punishment's a punishment. But I had to call off work Friday, which is something. Look, most people say, it's nice to have a day off from work, and trust me, it is. But I'm also a creature of routine and habit, and me not going, first of all, since I was off Monday through Wednesday, I went back Thursday, and then I get called away from it, and then I can't go into work Friday because my mother's injured. She can barely move her leg. She's doing okay now. She's been walking around with a cane. She's had knee problems before, but she just kind of twisted it slipping in the snow. But she's doing okay. But I had to call off Friday, and I hate using sick days. I have to be near dead to use a sick day. I've used more sick days. I've had to use more sick days for my kids than me. And so Friday, you better believe that. See, they said my son couldn't come back to school Friday. He wasn't suspended, but it's complicated, and I'm not even going to try to. It's like, well, there's big suspensions and soft suspension. It's hard to explain. I just say he couldn't go on Friday, so I had to stay home. And you better believe that I was going to teach him a lesson that, yeah, it's probably better to be at school and have some fun and do some work versus having to stay home with daddy and do work because you're keeping daddy from working. You can't see it over here though. Though it's not complete, my basement hasn't looked nicer in a while. So you better believe I put him to work. And we went through papers upstairs, we straightened up dishes, cleaning out cabinets, the fridge. It was I was going to teach him a lesson. He was going to learn that, look, a bad day at school is better than, this kind of day at home, because it's, he knows right from wrong. And I just don't know. Again, I don't know how much it is what he has that has him do this. When he gets into these, I don't know what you want to call it, when he has these episodes, but just having to miss work and everything. Again, I was able to thankfully do the stuff that was required of me. I was able to pull it off somehow, which made me happy, but I hated missing a day. I hated letting my boss down. We're already working over because someone's off. I've had to work every other Saturday the entire day. And I'm talking, I have to go in at 4 in the morning to 7 and then go back in at 2 and work till 11 because we have someone off because of a family tragedy, big family tragedy. And I'm not going to talk about that, um, but I'm covering for this guy every other week. And I got to do it 2 more times this Saturday and then 2 Saturdays from now. So I'm already beat. And so, I was hoping my week with my boys would be a little easier. It wasn't. And then that led to me doing the real rant video that a lot of people have seen. Just made me think about, um, it made me think about just what's important and what's not important. And because I mean, there may come a time, unfortunately, where if things, I hope for the best, and pray for the best, but I mean, if things don't go good, I mean, I may not be able to do this stuff anymore. And granted, as much as that'll suck, I mean, I want to say I'm ready to make that decision if I have to, but I don't want to have to. I want to be able to try to have everything because doing the stuff I do here makes me happy, and it even makes my kids happy. They like to see it, especially when I play games. My youngest likes to watch them when it's games he can watch anyway. Um, so I don't want to have to give up this, but I don't know. There may come a day where I have to, and it'll suck. But it's. I mean, my kids are the most important thing to me, and while this is important to me, it's if I got to choose, which I don't want to, and nobody wants to have to make a choice like that. But if I have to choose, I got to choose the kids. Um, but anyway, so that's how my week went. The boys went back to their mom on Sunday. He's been doing good. He was good. Again, he worked hard for me Friday, and we worked until his brother got home from school at 2. And then, I mean, we took a lunch, and I gave him a little recess, quote unquote recess, during the workday, and um, he got to play for a little bit because it's gonna be like school. You're gonna work, and then you'll get a little break, then we're going back to work. And then when his brother got home, he could play with his toys and stuff because I'm not gonna take away his toys. I mean, that'd make me a dick. But I had to take away the electronics. So but he earned them back. He had a great Saturday. He had a pretty good Sunday. I saw him yesterday and hung. Since I'm doing this today, I normally get him on Tuesday. I bumped that to Monday, and we hung out on Monday, and he did really good. We had a lot of fun. So hopefully things are getting better. And I think maybe he just got thrown off because everything was going weird on my week. But I don't know. It was a rough week, and I'm kind of glad that things have calmed down. I just checked with his mom. He got home okay, and things are good right now. And he was pretty good at school. So hopefully things are on the uptick and they're getting better. So anyway, we can continue the program now. So I'll go through some of this chat. And unfortunately, I don't have much of a program set up, of course. I mean, again, I didn't have any time to set up anything. So again, if you want to talk about anything, please put it in the chat and we'll definitely talk about it. So let's go up here. Let's see. First thing is Johnny says, have I seen the new Aladdin trailer yet? What are my thoughts? I have not. I don't watch a lot of trailers online. I wait and see them in the theater because if I can avoid them, I do. I am confused though because I've seen pictures from it. Is Will Smith blue and regular? If you guys could let me know that. I was confused because I remember, I think it was Entertainment Weekly came out with uh, like the first photos, and then he was just regular Will Smith in the outfit, and then all of a sudden there's pictures of him and he's blue. So I wasn't sure what they were doing there. So yeah, I haven't seen it yet. I mean, I'm sure it'll pop up during some movie I go see, and I'll watch it then because I mean, thankfully, knock on wood, I haven't seen anything from Avengers Endgame other than uh, the mid-credit scene for Captain Marvel, and I want to keep it that way. Um, so yeah, let me know about the Will Smith thing. I was just curious about that. Bryston says, "Have you seen the abysmal Doom Annihilation trailer? It's going to be straight to video, but it looks bad. Like it makes the 2005 movie look good bad." Blizzard has tweeted that they are not involved. I have not seen that either, but I can imagine, especially if straight to video. When I first heard about it, I just was like, "Really, we're doing this?" Doom, I mean, if you think about it, I mean, Doom did have a story, but did it have much of a story? Uh, and I know, God, it's been so long since I've seen the original one. The only thing I ever remember about the original is what everyone remembers about the original is the first person part. And I remember they mentioned the BFG. Other than that, I don't remember much about it. I only saw it once. Um, so yeah, I haven't seen it. Uh, so I just can't imagine it being good. I mean, maybe it'll be so bad it's good, but uh, like most video game movies, I'm sure it's not going to be fantastic. Bryson says also yesterday I'd mentioned Alan Tudyk is going to voice the Joker. Well, apparently he's going to voice Iago in the Aladdin remake. Yeah, I seen that. I'm fine with that. I mean, it would be nice to if they would have taken Gilbert Godfrey, but I know with these remakes, they're trying to do different things. I mean, I'm pretty sure that getting James Earl Jones to be Mufasa was the smartest move because I mean that character and that voice is so iconic. And then they're changing everybody else for the Lion King, but everything else they're definitely trying to differentiate from the cartoon because I mean that's a lot of people's complaints. Like, well, you're just giving us the same thing, maybe an extra song or less, you know. Um, so I'm fine with that. I like Alan Tudyk, so I'm cool with him being Iago. I'm curious if he's going to be as spastic as Gilbert Godfrey, though. Let's see. Bryson says the Nancy Drew movie may be good. It might be. It looks like it's for. I mean, Nancy Drew's for young girls. It looks like it's for young girls. I'll check it out. I know we're getting it around here. At least that's what Fandango said today. So I'm probably gonna see that on Friday. Winston says, "Do I have to watch Captain Marvel to see Endgame? Because I really have no interest in Captain Marvel. It doesn't hurt. I mean, especially the mid-credit scene connects to Endgame. It wouldn't hurt to have a setup for the character because if you didn't have the setup for a character, I mean, Captain Marvel's gonna be an Endgame. So, I mean, it wouldn't hurt to know about her. Um, I mean, and there's some things in game or that in Captain Marvel that could apply to in game. I'm not sure how much, but again, the mid credit scene at least. I mean, Captain Marvel is a decent movie. I had a good time. Is it perfect? No. Is it fun? Yeah, I had a lot of fun watching it. So I'm not gonna say it's my favorite Marvel movie, but I had a good time watching it, and I would just tell people ignore the BS on both sides and just check it out, especially if you like the MCU. Um, let's see. Narcotic says when's it? He's answering yeah. And says when is there a Marvel movie you don't have to watch to understand another? I mean, you could kind of throw Hulk in there. Then again, they still have the General Ross connection now. That's about the only thing I think they kind of kept. But yeah, I get your point. I mean, every Marvel movie kind of connects. Um, so let's see. Bryson says, "Is your mom's knee still hurts? Tiger Balm. Use Tiger Balm. I find works well on sore muscles. My mom used it, and I've started using it on my lower back. I'll definitely send that her way. She may already use it. I know. Like I said, she's had these issues before, and she has kind of twisted it good. I mean, she slipped in the snow, and I mean, I live on a hill, and that doesn't help either. And anyway, she's doing okay now. She came over on Sunday, and like I said, she was on a cane, but she was able to move okay, and I'm sure she'll be fine soon. And she already has a brace and everything for it. So, um, Let's see. Uh, Sorry, this thing jumped on me. Daniel says, when you said that your son has special needs, does he have autism? Because I do, and some episodes at my elementary school a long time ago. He has what's called Champ One. It's fairly new. There's aspects of some autism. We're gonna be getting some autism tests soon, because we're trying to get him all the help. I mean, I want my son to have every opportunity he needs and wants. So we're getting that just to see where he falls. I mean, the boy. I mean, the boy is a lot smarter than a lot of people give him credit for, and he knows a lot more. I mean, there's things he figures out that takes me, you know, like when it comes to say like electronics, uh, he'll figure something out before me, like on that little tablet of his or something like that. He's smart, and it's just there's just he has uh some physical. I mean, he can move and walk and everything. I'm not saying he has to wear feet braces because he's got flat feet like me. Um, and then because when he was born, they said they thought he had mild cerebral palsy. He does have some muscle issues like in his legs. He likes to keep his legs straight, and the muscles get tight and everything. Um, so I mean, his what he has is still fair. Again, they're still kind of figuring it out. Um, but he's learning really well. He's able to do a lot of things really well. He's behind on a few things, but that boy is pretty damn resilient, and I'm proud of him. Anyway, but I didn't know he had autism, so uh you know thank you for sharing that. Let's see. Scott says, my pest control company sold my branch, and three people didn't make it over in the transition. So I feel you. Everyone has to pull extra duty to cover for people who aren't there. Scott says, not to mention the culture shock of starting a new company. I've also had a stressful couple of weeks. Yeah, man. Work can get hectic sometimes, especially I work in news. So and what really upset me on Thursday having to leave, they were probably breaking the biggest story of the year during the show. I had to leave during breaking news, and that is like the worst. I mean, my boss was cool about it, and he understood. I mean, he's a dad, he understood, but and I've got a really cool boss, but um, I'm very what's the right word? I'm very loyal to my job, and I will do anything I can to make shows the best I can. And having to leave during that show was just very upsetting for me because I knew they needed me and I had to leave. So yeah, it kind of sucks. Um, let's see. Um, Guy says, I heard the regular Will was just a set pick. Um, let's see. I'm not sure on the sauce. I don't know what that means. Doom has to be schmuck. Um, yeah, Doom movie. I'm sure not gonna be good. Yeah, the Will Smith stuff's weird because I saw some picture and I didn't know what it was from. Again, I haven't seen the trailer, so I mean, if he's all blue, he's all blue. Um, I mean, I know he was like, "I told you I'd be blue." Um, let's see. Scott says, I've officially given up on the Disney remakes. I might see Dumbo just to see how weird Tim Burton can make it. But I don't care about Aladdin and Lion King. I mean, I love Lion King, and it's my favorite animated Disney movie. And so it's got me intrigued. Uh, but I don't I wish I could say I was more excited for it. Aladdin, I'm not really excited for. But I'm curious. I'm curious about Dumbo too, especially the the elephant hallucination scene. I want to see what Tim Burton does with that. I know they showed a little bit in that first trailer. I'm not sure where that's gonna. Um, I'm not sure how that's gonna fit into the movie. I'm really curious though about Dumbo because, okay, the elephant's name is really Jumbo, and they call him Dumbo, and it's an insult. But are they just going to call him Dumbo? The family just going to call him Dumbo? This family that they're adding in or whatever? Are they just going to call him Dumbo? I don't know. I mean, because the kids are calling him Dumbo, so I guess they kind of have to. Because I imagine the animals aren't going to talk in this. I'm not sure. I haven't seen anything with the mouse. I don't think. Right? Whatever that mouse's name is. Sorry, it's been a long time since I watched Dumbo, but um, I don't think the animals are going to talk or anything. Then again, they might. I don't know. I am curious about that though, especially with Tim Burton at the helm. Um, Narcotic says, Scott Lester, I admit I'm intrigued to see how and if Burton will fit. Yeah, there's the pink elephants on parade. I know they showed a little bit in the trailer. I don't know how they're going to put that in there. Scott says, would you consider setting up a real Geno Discord? If I, you know, I'm an older guy. I mean, you can probably see the gray in the beard. I don't really know much about Discord, so I mean, I'm not even really sure. This is gonna be. I'm not even sure really what they are. So I mean, would I consider it if I like the idea of what it was? Yeah. Sorry, I wish I wish I was more knowledgeable about stuff like that. But I mean, if it's something that interests me, yeah, of course I would. I am. Uh, I don't want to, but I am considering setting up a Patreon just because. Not because I'm like, oh, I need your support. I would appreciate support if I set it up, but I have to find a real reason to set it up. So I'm a little behind on a few things. Um, uh, so yeah, I mean, when it comes to like the newer stuff, I'm still learning how to do a few things here on YouTube. I'm still using this weak YouTube webcam live chat thing. I want to learn how to use OBS so I can show some videos and stuff, and show pictures and things like that during these live streams. I'm a little slow going figuring all that out, so I'm working on it though. But yeah, I'll take a look into that on the Discord thing. I mean, and look, I saw you put a little note there. I'll read that in a second, but yeah, I'm always interested in newer things, trying newer things. I just have to find the time to learn how to do them. Narcotic says, here's a question. Which video game movie do you love in lieu of its flaws? This question is for everyone, really. And yeah, that's another thing. If someone asks a question in that chat, please feel free to answer too, because I'm curious what everybody thinks. This live stream is not just about me. I want to know everything you guys think. About everything, even about my comments. I have this. I know Narcotic commented on this a while back over. I think it was on Twitter where I said after a live stream, it's like, why is it every time I leave a live stream, I wonder how many people I pissed off tonight? And I know he commented saying, yeah, I understand. So I want everyone's opinion, even if you disagree with me, as long as we have cool discussions and civil discussions. I want to have that. I mean, I don't expect everyone to agree with me on everything. What video game do I love in lieu of its flaws? Or video game movie? I mean, I've watched the Mario Brothers movie tons, and yeah, I know it's terrible. But I have a good laugh about it. I know I'm gonna watch it with my son, who is huge into Mario right now, and I just want to be like this. But I think I'm saving it. I kept wanting to show him, but it's like, I want to wait for the Illumination Mario movie to come out, and especially if it's good, I want to be able to say, well, this is what we got when I was younger. So I think I'm waiting on that. Let's see what other ones. I like Mortal. I know a lot of people consider Mortal Kombat one of the better ones. I mean, come on, but it hasn't really aged well. I do like Mortal Kombat. I like Street Fighter unapologetically, even though yes, again, it's terrible, and I'd rather watch the anime with especially the one with the Vega Chun-Li fight in her apartment, which is still one of my favorite fights in animation. So those are some that I really dig that And I know some of them people consider good, but there really hasn't been a great video game movie. And the ones that could be great, they're already like movies on the game, like say like a Gears of War or something like that. I don't want to see a Gears of War movie, even though there's a lot of cool people that would make a really cool cast. But it's like, well, we've already got a great story. You're just going to water it down for a movie. So let's see. Scott says Discord is just a chat channel kind of thing. Yeah, I would look into that. I know I had heard some people talking about that stuff. Would join the Discord or whatever. Yeah, I might consider something like that. I'll look into it. Bryson says Idris Elba is being looked at as replacing Will Smith as Deadshot in the new Suicide Squad. Not sure why Will Smith is being dropped, but Idris I think would be very good in the role. And Narcotics says I think Will Smith bailed. Yeah, Smith bailed. And then they just hired Idris Elba. Fine replacement with me. I think he'll be great. I posted a picture on Twitter and they had him in his outfit from Hobbs and Shaw, and it's basically a black and gray version of the Deadshot costume without the mask. It's like, yeah, but then I mean, think about Heimdall's dead. He can go to DC now. I'm fine with him taking over. They need to change some things anyway. If they're doing this somewhat soft reboot they're doing, they got to change some things up. I mean, they definitely should keep some things. I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing Boomerang back, and I know we're getting a Harley Quinn back, because you're not going to get rid of Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn. That would have been a really bad decision, I think, on their part. But I mean, if Will Smith didn't want to do it, then Idris Elba is a pretty good replacement for Deadshot. Let's see. Bryce says, I actually enjoy House of the Dead. It's a horrible movie, but fun to watch. But I actually have a weird love for the Mortal Kombat movies and TV series. Mortal Kombat itself was never Shakespeare. The TV series, I don't know how many there have been in Mortal Kombat. They used to have one, I want to say it was called Conquest. I can't remember if that's exactly what it was called. It used to be on like TNT or TBS in the 90s. And I remember really liking that at the time. Because I had a crush on the girl in it. It was Christina Loken from Terminator 3. She was like the main girl. I remember having a crush on her. And that's mainly the reason why I watched the show. But it followed not Liu Kang, but Kung Lao before like he was killed by Goro. Was kind of the story. And it had also the guy in it, I can't think of his name, but it was the guy that took over for Van Damme in the 5,000 Bloodsport movies they made after Van Damme. His name is escaping me right now. I'm going to feel dumb when I hear it. But he was in the show, and then there was a guy playing Kung Lao, and then there was Christina Loken. And I enjoyed the show. Let's see. But yeah, Mortal Kombat, especially the second movie. What was funny about the second movie of Mortal Kombat was when I saw it in the theater, I didn't see it for a long time after that. And when I finally got to see it, I noticed when I saw it in the theater, I noticed the production issues, the green screen problems, the stuff that it had that shouldn't have been in a major motion picture. I mean, you've got during some of the fights, people are clipping out from the green screen and everything. And I remember noticing that in the theater and thinking something was wrong. And then years later, learning about green screen and everything. And then I finally see the movie again. It's like, I knew I was right. And it was just weird seeing that, when Raiden is fighting Shao Kahn and you have, someone throws an uppercut and their arms clipping out. I always thought was pretty crazy. Narcotic says, for myself, Prince of Persia, even with the weird casting, at least story-wise, it makes an effort to have more substantial character-driven story. Yeah, Prince of Persia is not terrible. I mean, I know a lot of my friends that like the games were mad at it. And I played the original Prince of Persia. That is the only Prince of Persia game I've played. I've seen some of the newer ones and everything. But I've only played the original, the slow moving trap avoiding, you know what I'm talking about, the little side scroller thing. and I know my friends were mad at that movie. Uh, and they were mad that they erased everything that happened. Spoiler alert. The movie, they erased pretty much what happens in the movie at the end of the movie, saying, "Oh, hey, let's use this, and then this won't happen, and this movie never happened." I know they were mad at that. Yeah, it wasn't one of the worst. I didn't love it, and I probably won't watch it again, but I remember watching it and thinking it was okay. Bryson says, if you feel it is crossing the line into getting too political, you don't have to comment, but a female centric Rush Hour remake is in the works. I'm skeptical. They never seem needed like Ocean's remake. I mean, try it. I mean, I like Rush Hour 1 and 2. Excuse me. Rush Hour 3, I wasn't a huge fan of. Um, See, I didn't have a problem with Oceans either. I mean, I didn't like the movie that much. I thought it was okay. At least in hindsight, that's something I want to talk about here for a second. You know, and this happened when I made a comment about Wreck-It Ralph 2, saying it was all right, and then someone said, "I thought you loved it." You know, that's the problem with reviews. Your views on movies change over time. So when I do a review, if I had to go back and re-review everything, I would never get anything done. Um, so yeah, I mean, I remember thinking it was all right. I mean, I've never been a huge fan of the other Ocean movies. I thought they were fine. I didn't have anything against them, so I didn't have much against Ocean's 8. So I mean, if they want to try, you know, a female Rush Hour, fine. There's a difference between trying to, you know, remake Rush Hour versus remaking Ghostbusters. I mean, there's a difference in the, you know, the movies, their iconic nature. Um, where while I was fine with the Ghostbusters remake. I didn't think it was that funny, but I mean, it was definitely the safer Ghostbusters to show your kids. Um, Even though my son did fine watching the original, I didn't want to explain the jokes to him. Um, I I don't yeah, I don't have a problem with them trying to remake certain things because certain things aren't that iconic. I mean, as much as I like the first two Rush Hour movies, they're not that special to me. So I mean, I like Jackie Chan and I like Chris Tucker in that movie, and uh, but it's not one that I'd be like, if they remade it, I'm not going to be too bothered by it. Is it necessary? Probably not. Am I fine with it? Sure. Um, then you look at an example like what women want getting remade into what men want, um, where I mean they're almost two totally different movies, even though they share the same premise, at least idea. Um, I mean, at least they tried something like a little different. So yeah, I mean, there's just certain things I wouldn't. I If they want to try the female version, I mean, I'm just at a point where it's like, try it and I'll check it out. I'm not gonna do, you know, I'm not gonna do a thing like James Rolfe did where I'm like, I will not see it because it shouldn't have been made. Yeah, I don't want to see a Ghostbusters remake, and I'm happy that they're going back to the original storyline. When it comes to movies, I would rather them try the 20 years later sequel versus the remake. When it comes to something that has a history of being considered iconic or something like that. I mean, look at Blade Runner. They could have tried to remake Blade Runner. That would have been a terrible idea. Instead, they give us Blade Runner 2049, which is one of the best movies, if not the best movie of that year. And it was a sequel, you know? So yeah, I just, for me, I like continuing stories. And again, if they want to try remakes, I'll check them out. I'm not going to deny them. I'm not going to go, I'm not going to see it because you shouldn't be remaking it. I'm over it. I mean, I'll fake and laugh being angry at it. But I'll check anything out, to be honest. nowadays. I just don't. I don't. I mean, Do they need more original ideas? Yes, they do. But if they're gonna try it, fine. I mean, it's especially if a remake is going from. I mean, look at it for an example. I mean, the movie was like a mini series, and then they made a movie about it. You know, the quote unquote remake was a movie, and of course, it was fantastic. Um, but I mean, yeah, I mean, our remakes something they should stop leaning on as a crutch? Yes, because I mean, it's like come up with more original ideas or continue the story. Um, that's the way I see it. But if they're gonna remake it, I'll try it. I mean, it could suck, it could be good. I mean, I'll give it a chance. Um, let's see. Narcotics says Ocean's 8 was a sequel, and yeah, it was a continuation. Um, even though it was the whatever the quote unquote female version or whatever. The way they did it, I was fine with because again, it was in the universe and they actually had some characters from the other Ocean's movies. So I was fine with it. Like I said, I didn't think it was a fantastic movie, but it was fine. And then yeah, Rush Hour. I mean, it is a strange choice. He says Rush Hour is weird. It is a strange choice, but you know, whatever. Let's see. And then Narcotic said the Mortal Kombat show was Conquest. Did they spell it with a K? I don't remember. Because if they didn't, I'll be surprised. Just keep that in mind. Joins us. He says, "Would you consider replacing Alex Trebek on Jeopardy? Would I? Um, as long as he's been on that show, I would say no, but I know the business side is going to say yes. And chances are they're going to have him. First of all, he's going to fight the cancer. He said, I know they said it wasn't looking very good, but he said he's going to fight it. I think if he does decide that it's not getting better and he needs to be replaced, he will probably have a hand in picking his replacement. And he will do everything he can to give this guy all the cred that he needs to take over. I mean, from a iconic standpoint, I mean, I would say let him finish out Jeopardy, and then they're never going to cancel Jeopardy. I mean, they run it at the station I work at. It's one of the top rated shows we have, along with like Wheel of Fortune. I mean, those are just two of the most iconic game shows there are, and I don't see them going away, even with the death of. I mean, it makes me wonder. It's like, who do you replace? Someone like Pat Sajak and Vanna White. If they ever have to leave, I mean, how long have they been on those shows? I mean, ever since I can remember. Same thing with Alex Trebek. They will replace him. I don't know with who. I think when they do replace him, they need to find someone that has the same dry sense of humor he has, because if they go like too silly, and I'm not saying they'll pick this person, but say they put someone like a John Oliver there, I think them being too funny could hurt the show, because that is the quote unquote smart show. But do I think they are going to replace him? Yes. Should they? In a perfect world, no. They should just end Jeopardy when he can't do it anymore. But I mean, look how but then again, though they've never been great, how many hosts have we had for Family Feud after Richard Dawson, who is my favorite game show host of all time, and the show's fine. I mean, is it as good as when Richard Dawson was there? Of course not. But is it fine still to have whoever they have? Yeah, it's fine. They've had 5 hosts on that show since Richard Dawson left, or Richard Dawson was done. Yeah, I mean, it's but it's fine. They're going to replace him. I just don't know with who. They'll find someone as close to Alex Trebek as they can, I think, when they do. Narcotic says, well, the erasing of time is is how it happened in the game. Not to mention doing so would have been a springboard to the sequel. Alas, that didn't happen. Yeah, I was talking to a friend of mine. You're talking about Prince of Persia. Yeah, it. I remember my friend telling me that is what happened. It's just as a movie, it was just kind of a, well, your movie didn't happen. It was just kind of weird. That's what he was saying. It was just kind of weird. Just keep that in mind. Says, would you watch a remake of What Men Want starring Mel Gibson? I guess if they really wanted to make it, with the way that Mel Gibson's careers went, that would be an entirely different movie this time around, I think. Um, Bryson says, I think I'm just sick of remakes. I love horror, but even a Chucky remake is not overly exciting to me. I saw the picture of Chucky and was like, yeah, it was one of those why. But and if it doesn't make that's the thing though. If it goes straight to DVD, I don't see a lot of them. I saw the Chucky they did, um, where it was he was chasing the girl in the wheelchair, whichever one that was, and then I know they did one after that, and then now they're redoing it again. Yeah, I mean, it's just like any other, especially with horror. It's just when you've got an iconic villain like a Freddy or a Jason or whatever. Anytime there's a remake idea, it's like, come on, what are you doing? But I'll watch it. I mean, it's my job. Let's see. Narcotics says to Bryson, preach. Uh, Bryce says, I think continuations are really good. I mean, Mad Max Fury Road was the shit. Yeah, of course it was. And I love that movie. And that's just it. That's just it. I want to see what happened to these characters years from now. I mean, the only thing, and I know they wanted someone younger because they wanted to, and that's why they got Tom Hardy to take over Mad Max. But I would have loved to have seen uh, a Mel Gibson Fury Road, just because that's the character, have him be older. But I know what they were trying to do. They were just trying to, kind of like James Bond. They just want to keep the character younger. So I know what they were doing. Cause I mean, if you do put like, bring Mel Gibson back, you've got you've got to age the story, where with Mad Max, they just wanted to keep it as like these stories, and they can tell, they don't have like this cohesive timeline. It's just, here's these stories about Mad Max. And yeah, Fury Road's awesome. I still love, I've got a big thing for the Do Foyer, playing playing that guitar. It's just still one of my favorite things ever in a movie, just him playing that flame guitar. Bryson says, I'll probably see Pet Cemetery, so I guess I'm not immune to remakes. It actually looks like they might do something interesting with it. I was excited about Pet Cemetery, and I still am, don't get me wrong, until I saw the second trailer. I was at the theater, and I saw the second trailer, and they showed way too much. I was mad, just mad they showed way too much. They showed how a few of the things are changing. And granted, they still might have some stuff in that, but that's the worst thing about a trailer to me, is when they show you too much of the movie in order. But I'm still curious to see it. And I've mentioned this before, anytime those trucks go by on that road, I mean, it gets me every time. Just all of a sudden the sound is there, and it's flying by the house. Let's see. Narcotics says, hell, Chucky has had a good streak recently with Curse of Chucky and Cult of Chucky, so it seems strange to reboot it in spite of the increase of quality. Yeah, I was really surprised, because I know those two movies apparently did pretty well. But I don't know the business end of it. I mean, maybe they just didn't make the money they thought, and it's like, we'll try again. And I know they changed the look of the doll. I've seen a picture of it. It's like, well, it kind of looks like Chucky. So I don't know. But yeah, I think, if I'm not mistaken, Curse of Chucky, was that the one with the girl in the wheelchair? I just can't remember. There's so many of them, I can't remember the names of them anymore. Scott says, you mentioned it and you reminded me that there's a trailer out for Pet Cemetery remake. I personally think it looks like crap, but I'm biased because I just read the book and it hit me hard. Yeah. I mean, I'm curious about it. especially if a remake happens and it's good. I mean, that is pretty satisfying. But then, of course, they may have the "I told you so," and we should try it again 57,000 times. I mean, because the original movie is really good. I've never read the book. My mom did. She loves that book. She's a big Stephen King fan. Um, and she loves that book and she loves that movie, and I'm sure she'll want to go see the new movie as well. Um, I think the movie looks interesting, but again, that second trailer just made me mad. Bryson says, I read Dreamcatcher, so I feel you. That's Scott Lester. I could tell by the trailer that it wasn't going to be good. I never got around to reading Pet Cemetery. Um, Narcotic says, did you play the recent Mad Max video game? I have it on the computer. I bought it for cheap. It's going to be on the list for Gino's Bad at Games when I can finally get to. I have so many. I'll have an idea of, okay, I've got these 5 games I can play, and then I'll see a deal on like the Street Fighter collection. It's like, well, there's a there's a whole series of Gino's Bad at Games to play. So I'm eventually will get to Mad Max. Thankfully, I don't care about how old a game is. If I want to play it, I'm going to play it. I don't care if it's new and trendy. So if I got to wait to play Mad Max, I will. I want to play it. I am curious how much of it's open world and how much of it is story driven, because I do prefer linear games better than open world games, but I am curious to play it. But yeah, I bought it and it was going to be before Spec Ops, and then I got Spec Ops and I wanted to play it. So it's anytime I come up with a game, I know I've been saying I want to start Snatcher, but it's just like, well, first I got to get it to record, and then second, oh wait, I just bought the entire Wing Commander collection, so I want to play those games too. So I've got a lot to play, and eventually I'll get to it. But yeah, I am looking forward to the Mad Max video game, even though it's been out for I don't know how long, and I've had it for I don't know how long. I'll get to it eventually because I just don't have the time to game that I'd like. Um, Bryson says, I like the theory that Tom Hardy was actually the feral kid grown, and that's why he didn't say much. Yeah, I heard that theory. And they never really answered. I know George Miller never really come out and said he is or he isn't. That is a cool theory, though, because, I mean, that does age the timeline of the movie, and then also that could mean that Mad Max is out there somewhere, or he passed. He died before he died. He passed on the identity of the character to the feral kid. So that is a cool theory, and I would rather them not answer it and just leave it at that. There's sometimes it's okay not to have all the answers, and that's one of them. It's like, if it is, just let it be, and we'll go from there. And Lord help us if they don't make another Mad Max movie. They need to make another one. I want to see, and as much as I would be fine with a spinoff with Furiosa, um, but I would rather see another Mad Max story, because I mean, I don't need a world built around Mad Max. I would rather just follow Max through whatever situation he gets in. That's kind of how I see those movies. Scott says to Bryson, it's a really good book. I'm guessing you're talking. You're talking Pet Cemetery. It's a really good book, but I lost a child very close to me, not my child, so it's become a very emotional story for me. So I recommend it, but not if you're sensitive to that. Sorry for your loss, Scott. Again, I haven't read the book, but I can imagine. I know any movie I see or anything when someone loses a child, uh, it hits me because it's like, well, what if it were me? Um, because just the thought of losing my kids is, I've had those thoughts before. I mean, when my oldest was born, he was born 6 weeks early, and we couldn't even touch him for like 3 days. Um, his mom was able to feed him, but that was it. I couldn't touch him. And it was a pretty special day when he got to come out. We called it the Darth Vader helmet. It was this breathing apparatus around his head, and though it didn't look like Darth Vader, it should have. But you would walk in the room and you would just hear, and it just sounded like you were walking into Star Wars. But then, yeah, I get what you're saying there, man. the idea of losing my kids. I was talking with my boss the other day about that. Um, I don't remember how it came up, but we were talking about this. Like, I just can't imagine uh how that would be. So I know it wasn't your kid, but I mean, even if it's close to the family, I've got friends who, I'm close with their kids, and if something happened to them, I would be broken. So I'm with you on that. Just I can understand that, though I could never really totally understand how you feel unless it happened to me. I'm with you. It's just I just can't imagine totally how losing someone close would be. Um, Bryce says I've not seen the second trailer, so I'll try to avoid it. Good idea. Um, Narcotic says they both featured the girl in the wheelchair, but Colt landed her in an assignment and ended up on a wicked cliffhanger. Yeah, I remember. I'm trying to remember the ending, and I'm spoiler alert for the first Chucky movie there, the Curse of Chucky. Um, I think Jennifer Tilly showed up, right? At the end of that. Um, yeah, I never got to see Colt, and that's neat that they continued that story with the girl, because the her trying to get away from Chucky added a whole new dimension of, she can't run. There's an elevator involved and all this stuff that um but yeah, it added a whole new element. I really enjoyed that movie, and I wanted to see the other one. I just never had a chance to, and then they're remaking it. Um, let's see. Um, where was I? Sorry, I'm trying to find the thing jumped on me here. Narcotic says, uh, you're talking about Mad Max here. It will own you for a while. You'll be obsessed with raiding camps for water, scrap, and guzzling. Guzzling, I love it. Let's see. It's very open world, but for Mad Max it works. Yeah, I really want to check it out. Bob Gunter 2 says, Gino, have you seen Lords of Chaos? It's a bio about mayhem. I have not. I think we talked about this last time. Someone brought that up. I have not seen it. Let me look something up here. Forgive me here. Lords of Chaos. I'm just curious. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I remember someone asked about this because I remember that poster. It's definitely one I want to check out. I have not seen it though. Um, but yeah, I'll definitely check it out when I get a chance. When it comes to movies that don't come around us or go straight to video, it's hard for me to get to watch them sometimes just from time constraints. But I would love to check it out. Bryce says Bob Gunter is such a crazy movie. They make Varg look like look like a little bitch. It's funny seeing how much he hates it. Bob says, I know, I read the book. His name was Christian or Kristen. Bryson says, per Olin, I guess I'm saying the right, per Olin suicide scene. Spoiler alert. No, I'm kidding. Scene in Lords of Chaos is one of the most gruesome things I've ever seen on film. It made Green Room seem relatively tame. Bob says the violence in that was like what Rob Zombie tried to do, but succeeds and makes it visceral. The book is very cool. They mention Coven. And Daniel says, I'm back. I was eating sloppy Joe and tater tots. Sounds delicious. Let's see. If you guys got anything else you want to talk about, definitely throw it up there. I'm going to go to the news page here, just pull up a few more ideas. Again, I apologize for not having a show ready, but again, my week. Let's see what we got. Let's see. Stephen King's The Talisman has got a director. It's Mike Barker, who directed many episodes of The Handmaid's Tale. Rupert Wyatt says his Gambit film with Channing Tatum fell apart because of Josh Trank's Fantastic Four. I think a lot of things fell apart because of Josh Trank's Fantastic Four, including my faith in the Fantastic Four. No, I still want to see a Fantastic Four movie, a really good one. Jordan Peele says he accepted a modest budget for Us because he didn't want the studio effing up his story. Probably a good plan. We talked about Alan Tudyk voicing Iago. Um, Invisible Man wants Army Hammer or Alexander Skarsgård for lead role. Okay, if they're making an Invisible Man, which if you had those two to pick from, who would you pick? I'm really curious. I would go with Skarsgård myself. Not saying anything wrong with Army Hammer. I just like Skarsgård more. I'm sure if Desiree here, she picks Skarsgård too. She's got a thing for the Skarsgårds. Wait, what is this? A Bohemian Rhapsody sequel. Okay. Not so fast, despite buzz from Queen music director. Um, it's mentioning here that they could continue the story right after Live Aid. No, just no. No. Don't make me watch that. Let's see what else we got. They're filming the Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard now. I liked the first Hitman's Bodyguard. I thought it was fun. There were definitely some weird choices for camera work in that movie, but what else we got? That's about everything new. Sesame Street live action movie for 2021. As long as they, stay away from the bad side of town. Let's see. That's about it. What we got? Let's see. Narcotics sign off. I'm gonna be signing off too here pretty quick. I think it's been a long week, and I got a long week ahead of me. Daniel says Sesame Street movie is going to be January 15th, 2021. Live action Tom and Jerry movie. It's gonna be like Chipmunks, isn't it? Those movies, I mean, I'll watch them, but they're just getting those quote unquote live actions where they have the cartoon characters with the live action people. Just the concept got old real quick with things like Garfield, and it's just they're gonna keep making them, and I want them to make a good one, but there's just I never have hope in them. One thing I'll ask you guys, what's your most anticipated movie this year? That's something I want to know from everybody. So definitely put that in the chat. I'm just curious what everyone thinks. Let me know why. I think mine at the moment, as much as I'm excited for things like Star Wars, well, I'd say I'm excited for Star Wars, and I'm not gonna hate on the Last Jedi here, but it just wasn't as. There's parts of that movie I love, and then there's parts of movie that I don't love so much. But I am still looking forward to the next installment. But I'm looking forward to that and Endgame and things. But I think John Wick 3 is what I'm really looking forward to the most. I think I just love the first two John Wick movies. And I still want them to figure out how to cross it over with Atomic Blonde. I know one's set in the 90s and one's not, but I would believe you if I mean, look at the de-aging they did on Sam Jackson and Captain Marvel and how good it was. You can't tell me you can't de-age, and really you don't need to do it much. I mean, Keanu Reeves doesn't look old. Just de-age him a little bit, do a cool crossover movie. I still want that. But I want to see how they're going to end it. I hope he gets away. I know that means, well, we could have another movie and they may milk it too much, but I would love to see. I have a feeling it's going to be they fake his death kind of thing. But we'll see. Or maybe he will go out in a blaze of glory. I don't know, but I am looking forward to that movie a lot. Let's see. And again, sorry, no, Craig, I meant to say, he said it's bed o'clock, so have a good night, buddy. I'm glad you could join us. Bryson says Rocket Man opinions. I haven't seen the trailer. I hope it is another Rhapsody. I'm actually really looking forward to it because it looks like, whereas in Bohemian Rhapsody just flat out lied and tried to shape the story, it looks like Rocket Man is going to tell the fairy tale version. I mean, they show a scene where he's playing the piano and people are kind of floating. So if they're going to do that, if they're going to show like it's him kind of telling the fairy tale version of his life, I really like that idea. I just don't want them to say, well, here's what really happened, even though it's, like Bohemian Rhapsody, it's a bunch of BS. And I'm not saying everything that they show in Bohemian Rhapsody was false, but I mean, there was a lot of stuff there. They changed the time. There's stories they didn't tell, and it's like, well, they were arguing, and then they came up with another one bites the dust, and it's like, no, they didn't. It's just like if they would have told that movie like it was a fairy tale as well, um, I uh, I would have been a little more accepting of it. But they tried to pass it off like it was the real story, and it just wasn't. Um, so I am curious more about Rocket Man. I do, and I like the trailer. I like that Taron Egerton is singing the songs and he's not lip syncing. I like that too. I always like it when an actor at least tries the songs, and if they can sing, I mean, uh, look at Walk the Line, where Joaquin Phoenix sang the songs for that. Um, I mean, first of all, do you really try to replace Johnny Cash? No, but did he do a fantastic job in being Johnny Cash? Yeah. I mean, of course, you'd rather listen to a real song, but it's kind of cool to hear actors covering these songs, playing the character. So it's interesting, especially when they can do it well. And Taron Egerton can sing, so we'll see how that goes. I'm curious about that one. Daniel says there's a topic I want to discuss with you about Warner Brothers Animation last week because it's something funny. Um, uh, there's a topic I want to. What's the topic? Uh, go right ahead. If you got something about Warner Brothers Animation, go ahead and throw it in there if you haven't already, Daniel. Bob Gunter says he's looking forward to Infinity War. That was a while back. No, I'm kidding. I know you meant Endgame. And I always call it Infinity War also because it was supposed to be Infinity War 2 or whatever, part 2 or whatever. And I was glad they changed it. Daniel says he's looking forward to Frozen 2 because I enjoyed the first film about the trailer. And the trailer's awesome. I'm curious about Frozen 2. I don't think I saw the trailer for it. Again, I try to avoid as many trailers as possible nowadays. I am curious about it, though. I enjoyed the first film, and I enjoyed that quote unquote short, the 20-minute short or whatever that they put, or however long it was that they put in front of what movie was it they put in front of Coco, I think. So yeah, I'm curious about that one too. Paul says Endgame, want to see if Iron Man or Cap dies. I'm going to say Iron Man, no. But he's going to become AI. Cap is probably, if Cap doesn't die, I'll be really surprised. I would love to see them keep him around as Steve Rogers, pass on the mantle, keep around Steve Rogers, maybe have the whole Steve Rogers takes over Shield thing. That would be kind of cool, but I mean, as long as he's there, people are going to want him. As long as Chris Evans is there, they're going to want him to be Cap. And I mean, I know he wants to do different things, and I can't blame him there. But I think he's gonna die. He's gonna sacrifice himself to save everyone, at least in one part of the story. I don't think he's gonna make it to the end of the movie. And if it's 3 hours, though, who's looking forward to a 3-hour end game? I am. Daniel says, here's the thing you're talking about Warner Brothers. Here's a little story. Warner Brothers CEO Kevin, I'm not going to try to pronounce that name, was in charge of Warner Media's Global Kids and Young Adults division. And I'll try to find where you talk about the rest of it. But 2 days later, CEO Kevin, whatever, ended up being investigated for sexual misconduct. Well, I mean, all I can say is, if he did it, then he needs to be punished. I mean, there's really not much more I can say about it. It's pretty creepy. Anytime there's someone that's in charge of something for kids and then they turn out to be a creep, really disturbs me. Because I mean, you're gaining. I mean, granted, I know it's not like something where he's around the kids all the time or whatever, but he's still creating things for kids, and then he turns. If he did it, he turns out to be a creep. I mean, and I don't know what the sexual misconduct charges were, but I mean, either way, I mean, if you're doing something for kids, you would think that, I don't know. I'm not saying you have to have higher standards, but I don't know, if you're doing something involving kids, it's just I know it's doing something bad to someone is bad no matter what, no matter what your job is. But if you're dealing with kids, it just almost feels worse, you know. Um, but yeah, I'll definitely look into that one. I hadn't heard that. Again, I haven't had much time to investigate much. Um, let's see. Bob Gunter says American Gods season 2 stealth premiere last week. I've never seen that. Um, I don't get to watch a lot of TV shows. I'm catching up on my Game of Thrones. I'll talk about that in a minute. I forgot to mention that earlier in the show. Bryce says Beach Bum, I hope is fun. It looks crazy. I mean, McConaughey, Isla Fisher, Zac Efron, Jonah Hill, and Snoop Dogg. Seriously, what the F is going? Is that movie going to be? Yeah, the idea of Beach Bum McConaughey in general, just I want to see that movie. I'm curious. I know it's coming out soon. I can't remember when, but I know it's soon. I'm definitely looking forward to it. Daniel says, oh, we read that. Let's see. Bryston says, but in reality, Joker is Joaquin Phoenix, such a good actor and weird. Yeah, I'm curious what they're doing with that Joker movie, especially now that they're doing this whatever soft reboot they're doing with DC. Is it going to have anything to do with the DC movies? Is it going to play a part in like a multiverse? Lord knows what they're coming up with DC, but I think we'll eventually get another Justice League. But I think that they're trying to figure out what they want to do. They couldn't get what Marvel had quickly because we got Justice League, which is fine, but it definitely felt rushed. So they're kind of, I think they're going back to the drawing board. I would love to see them kind of create their own, each character have their own little world where you have, you set up the Batman stuff, the Gotham stuff, and then you set up some Superman stuff, and then eventually have them be their own separate things, where not saying they have to interconnect like all the Marvel stuff, just set up their own little worlds, right? And then cross them over. People will be invested in the characters, and then you could go from there. You don't have to do what Marvel did to do something like Marvel did. Um, so uh, I want to see them do something like that. Excuse me. And Daniel did confirm, yeah, it was Coco that Frozen thing was in front of. Um, Daniel says, I'm also going to the fan event of 5 Feet Apart tomorrow. Oh, yeah, they're doing like AMC. I think it's just AMC is doing like the Wednesday fan event. I was happy they did that because, it was, again, there's 4 movies this weekend to help me spread it out. Daniel says, I sort of knew why you did a podcast today instead of tomorrow. Yeah, I figured you'd figure that out. Because I know you go to a lot of those early screenings. Bryce says I need to go to bed. Have a good night. Hey, you too, buddy. Thank you for joining me. And I think I'm going to wrap up the show. I will talk about one other thing. I've been getting caught up on Game of Thrones. I mean, I've seen it all twice already, but I wanted to catch up on it. And I was going to do either season by season reviews or episode reviews or something. I wanted to do something. But I decided not to. I decided I'm going to do something a little different. I don't want to tell you guys about everything about it. It's going to be one video, and I know I don't do a lot of countdown videos or whatever, but it does involve a bit of odds when it comes to characters. And I'll explain it more when the video comes out. I'm still putting it together because I want to go through the entire series again so I can come up with odds. And you can probably figure it out when it's Game of Thrones, what odds I'm talking about. But there's specific people in it for a specific reason, and I'll talk about it in the video. I don't want to spoil too much because I want to leave some to the imagination, as they say. So I'm working on that, but I got to get through Game of Thrones again first. So let's go through the rest of the comments here, and then I'm probably going to wrap it up for the night. Daniel says, actually, mostly all theaters are doing the fan event, like Cinemark and Regal. Not okay. I just know we don't have a lot of theaters around here other than AMC. We got one other one in Savoy, and then some art theaters around here. So I don't get much choices around here. And he says, I'm curious if it's going to get crowded. Being that you can use, at least with AMC, you can use the A-list. I can see it being crowded. I'm going early just to make sure. I was gonna have to go to Springfield for it, and I did tell Brad about it. He was happy to hear about it because again, he's doing big time convention season, and he said that he was happy to hear they're doing it early because again, there's 4 movies this weekend, and I think there's a couple others like Fathom events that he might check out too. But he he I just know that they're at the AMC's, and I was going to go to Springfield, but then we got screenings here, so I'm staying here unless he needs me or something. Uh but yeah, I think it might do all right. It doesn't, I mean, it looks like A Fault in Our Stars. I mean, it looks like that kind of movie, which I like that movie. So uh hopefully it's good like that and not overly cheesy. So anyway, I think I'm gonna wrap up the stream for tonight, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. And Bob, I see you signed off. So thank you very much. Next time in 2 weeks on Wednesday, it should be back to normal. But definitely follow me on Twitter at the Real Gino, and follow me on the community tab on this channel. Because that's where I do updates on when these streams are going to be and everything. There's a new thing on YouTube where it says you can follow your subscriptions and or subscriptions and comments. Definitely put on the and comments. So if you're not following me on Twitter, you can see in your feed for videos anytime I do a comment if you want to know when these streams are going to be or when I'm doing things. So anyway, and one last thing here, Daniel says, I hope Brad brings Sarah to Wonder Park so I can hear Brad's thoughts on Missing Link and Ugly Dolls because he only talks about trailers in front of the movies with Sarah. Yeah, I always enjoy their I got to do Riddick with those two years ago before Brad and I were even, I mean, we were just doing a professional video together. We weren't really friends yet. And I enjoyed hanging out with the two of them. They have a good time together, and I had a good time with them. So yeah, I have a feeling he'll do Wonder Park with her. That would be my guess if he doesn't do it with his wife. But anyway, and Paul says, "Great stream. Good night, Paul." Again, thank you guys so much for joining. I'm gonna go ahead and sign off and get back to Game of Thrones, so I can get that video done before the before the new season starts, the last season starts. So anyway, thank you guys so much for joining me, and thank you for joining me on a Tuesday. I wish everyone could have been here, but I was glad that those of you that could join could. And if you have any other questions or anything, you can definitely put it in the comments section of this video, or again, follow me on Twitter. You can ask me stuff there, and I'll talk about it on the next program. Anyway, see you guys later. Have a good night.